Hey YouTubers, I'm back with another camera video at long last. This is the Big Kahuna, the Texas Leica, the Clown Squirt Gun camera, the very large framed Fuji 6x9 or Fuji 690. It's a medium format camera, a rangefinder, and it shoots a 6x9 centimeter image. Comparing that to some other cameras I've talked about, the frame size is twice the size of the Fuji 645ZI that I have a video about. You can see that video here. And it's half again as large as the frame of a 6x6 Hasselblad. 6x9 is pretty much the largest normal, for lack of a better word, frame size that you can shoot in medium format. There are some wider format cameras, but they're kind of special purpose panoramic cameras. 6x9 is the same ratio width to height as a 35mm. So if you like that 2x3 kind of aspect ratio that 35mm has, in medium format, a 6x9 is what you want to look at. The 690 is a very simple, very robust camera. It's got a lot of plastic on it, but it is plastic that is wrapped around a metal frame, as I understand it anyway. It's a 90mm lens on this guy, which when you're shooting 6x9 is going to be somewhat equivalent to about a 45mm lens, and the max aperture on it is f3.5, which is fairly fast. It's not incredible, but it's fairly fast, and on a lens this long, at f3.5, you're going to get really narrow depth of field, or really shallow depth of field. And so you get some of that cool medium format shallow depth of field look out of it very easily. And it's a double wind camera. To wind a frame, you use the wind lever twice. This particular camera you can't fire if the camera is closed, or if there's no film in it. If you don't have film in it, you have to open it to release the shutter. And while I have the back open and I can fire this thing, I want you to pay some attention to the sound of the shutter. It ain't pretty. That sproingy sound is, according to some sites on the web, is really related to the film roll counter that's on the bottom of the camera. I'll get to that in a minute. And not so much to the shutter itself, because usually leaf shutters are very quiet. This thing makes a huge sproingy, ugly sound that a lot of people hate. The camera is, another reason to shoot it is it's self-contained. It doesn't have interchangeable lenses, and it's just a simple, rugged. It's a very rugged camera. You can throw this thing in the back of your car, and it'll be fine. You don't really have to take particularly great care of this thing, and it's, as I keep saying, it's just simple. So why would you shoot one of these guys? Well, you would shoot it if you like rangefinder handling, if you like focusing with a rangefinder system. If you like a lot of quality in your photos, that's a reason to shoot. The negative size on these things is astounding, and I'm going to show you right now what I mean by that. What I have here is a couple of sheets of negatives, and I'm going to hold up the 35mm frames. And so you can see that that's the frame size of a 35mm. Now I'm going to hold up a 6x9 negative, and I think you can see we're talking an incredible difference in surface area here. And this is why you shoot medium format, is to get more surface area exposed, so you get smoother tones, more detail. You don't have to enlarge a negative that is this size as much as you do a negative that's this size. So you're going to keep a lot of quality. You're going to keep the smoothness of tones. You're going to keep the low grain, if that's what you want, by shooting a very large negative. So that's why people are into medium format in general, and a larger framed medium format camera like the Fuji in particular. I'm going to now turn the video camera around and show you a little more about this camera close up. Okay, so I'm going to go over some of the features of the camera. There's really not that much to go over. It's very simple. So looking at the top panel here, on the left we've got a bubble level, which is pretty nice. At least you can get your horizontal level just right if you have the camera on a tripod. Here's the hot shoe. It has X synchronization. This is the selector for what type of film you're putting in the camera. And if you were going to say shoot 220, you would move it to that position. If you're lucky enough to get a hold of some of this 4 exposure half roll 120, you'd put it in that position, etc. Frame counter, the wind lever, shutter button, another shutter button, and this shutter button has the shutter lock on it. And then there's this built-in hood, which I think is really nice. Or I don't know for why, but for some people hate this feature. I can't imagine why. I like it. So that's just built in. You slide it up, and then you've got a window that shows your shutter speed and your aperture. And if you hold your mouth right, you can change both at the same time. I'm not holding my mouth right now, but you see that you can get them changed at the same time, similar to the interlock on a Hasselblad, not nearly as convenient, but you know, it's doable. It was a max aperture of f3.5, and it goes down to 32, top shutter speed of 500th, or fastest shutter speed I should say, and it goes to 1 second on a normal timed basis, and it doesn't have a bulb setting. It has a time setting, which basically means you click the shutter once to open the shutter, you click the shutter release once to open the shutter, and click it again to shut the shutter. You can also shut the shutter by winding on the film, and that will stop it. And then this is the focusing ring. It has a really nicely damped, heavy kind of feel to it, and this is a rubber, sort of a semi-texturized rubber here. And here you can see the shutter there, because it's a leaf shutter. This lens is extremely sharp and very high contrast. So keep that in mind if you're going to shoot black and white film. You're going to get a very contrasty result with this lens, and you can't change the lens. So if you don't mind a lot of contrast, you're good. If you don't like a lot of contrast, you're going to have to adjust your exposure and development to compensate. Loading film is a process of just opening the back. I can manage to get it open. It's already semi-open. Like with most Fuji cameras, you push these little red guys to release the roll holder. You put the roll in here and snap that shut. Pull the film across. I always keep a little bit of tension by putting my thumb here on the film roll itself, and then you start winding the film until the arrow on your film is matched up with this arrow here. Once you've done that, yikes. Once you do that, you close the camera up, and then you start winding until you get to frame 1. And it'll stop winding once you hit frame 1. And then you're ready to go. That's kind of all there is to this camera. It's really that simple. One more thing to talk about though. It looks like it might be a frame counter or something like that. It's actually a roll counter. So there's some guidance in the manual about when you should get the camera serviced, and it has to do with the number of rolls you've put through the camera, and therefore the number that you see displayed here. I believe it's when you reach 500 is when Fuji says you should get the leaf shutter serviced. So that's about it for this guy. As I say, you can get some incredible results with it, and it's a very easy camera to shoot. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them here and I'll try to answer your questions. Otherwise, stay tuned for more photography stuff. Thanks for watching. Talk to you later.